we all know deep down political correctness has actually ruined our business to an extent. That's why I'm popular, because I'm a voice for the people. The lorry drivers and the laggers and the pipe fitters and the electricians who come to see me, they're not bothered about what I say. And I know sometimes you say, well, it's how you say it, it's the way you put it across. But it's a joke. I'm not asking you to come and see me. And then if I mention something, you go out and do it. I'm supposed to relieve you from all your pains and anxieties, and you forget your mortgage and your bill and your tax bill. You come and you laugh at me. I stand on stage for the first 20 minutes, demoralising myself. So I think after 20 minutes, I'm allowed to say anything about anybody. I mean, without being over the top, we in this country, we're the most politest country in the world. The Spanish, they haven't changed their language, have they? And if you look in the dictionary, what's Spanish for black? Just have a look, see what it says. We call it black, see what they call it. When you go to Italy and you ask for have a look in the dictionary again. Chinese, see what they call it. We'd never get away with that here. But they're not worried about political correctness. Let's just get on with it. It's stupid, really.
When you created this character, Roy Chubby Brown, because, I know you as Royston Vasey, the man behind Roy Chubby Brown. Was there a specific point when you thought, I'm not going to be Ken Dodd with funny hair and cute lines, or Bob Monkhouse with a smart suit, or Les Dawson sort of having a go at the mother-in-law? Did you specifically set out to make a point? Because it's a bit like Jim Davidson, not that I'm comparing you, because I think you're very different, but you're both very political, but you say your stuff in a very different way, but you are making legitimate points a lot of the time.
Well, that's up to the audience. The audience decide exactly how they take it. I started off, don't forget, as a clean comedian, and I was getting sent to men only and stag nights and hen nights and private functions, and they were saying to me, you're funny, son, but you're going to have to smut it up a bit. I said, oh, right. So, and then the highest compliment I was ever paid was by Les Dawson. I was stood at the bar with him at the Viking Hotel in Blackpool one night, and he said, I've seen you several times, Roy, and I'll be honest with you, you could be one of this country's biggest stars if you'd stop effing and jeffing. I said, well, I've left this a bit too late now. So that was a compliment I'll never forget.
I guess at this point you'd be cheating your audience if you stopped doing that, because they sort of expect it.
44 years, I couldn't, could I?
Right.
Let's say, what's he trying to prove here?
Yeah. What amazes me about you, and I've said this to you before and I stand by it, I think you're one of the cleverest comedians in the world. You never stop writing. You never stop adding into the show. Most years you have
to. If you're going to do your job right, you have to do it.
Not every comedian out there does that, though, do they?
No, there'll be a lot of them at the bar now, stood in the local pub. There'll be a lot of them on the golf course. There'll be a lot of them at the swimming baths, sitting in the jacuzzi, looking at the women. But not me. I'm here at my desk and I'm looking for things that's in the paper. And I'm looking to find out if there's anything I can say. I've just written down here, you can tell it's Christmas, the Easter eggs are in the shops. I went down to Summers and bought some of them special pants for my wife, where I might get a glimpse, but she's gone and sewed the crutch up. Yeah, so, it's like when you start writing and you write little lines down, you think, will I get away with this, I've written down here, today I've sent £100 to the Philippines. Well, actually, I've sent £100 and 2 kites. You don't know where they're going to go, or they're going to laugh, You can get away with jokes as long as they're 6,000 miles away.
You have traditionally always, as has Joan Rivers, gone straight out after something like a tragedy in the Philippines and made jokes. She said after 9/11, she was the first one to make a joke about it, and she said, we have to laugh. It is so important that at a time of tragedy, we don't just sit and cry. Underneath the gag, is there a point there that you feel that people should laugh, or do you think that there is sort of a time when it's insensitive?
Well, if it's bothering you, if at the back of your mind something's bothering you, don't say it. Bernard Manning once told me you should never apologise for a joke. It is a joke. That's what it's about. It's a bit of fun. If people are taking it wrong, they shouldn't be in the room. You give them plenty of warning. There's big posters up. Don't come in if you're easily offended. We don't need you in the room. We're having a party. We've shut it down. We're having a party. We're not hurting anybody. You know, I've worked with black comedians who call themselves names. I've worked with Chinese comedians who have called themselves names. You know, because people love to see people take the rise out of themselves. I mean, when I was 23, I mean, I'm only 19 now, but when I was 23 and 24 stone, I was talking about my waist all the time and fat and what have you, and people were just falling off the chairs.
Mm.
Did you know I did Wayne Rooney's birthday last week?
I saw that in the paper. How was it?
Yeah. It was fantastic. Of course, I used him.
Yeah.
It's Army's favourite comic, so I used him. I said, I've got a lot in common with somebody in this room. I said, I've had a hair transplant. I said, I sat on a wooden stove for 8 hours. I said, when I got home, I said to my wife, do you know, my bum's killing me? She said, I thought they took the hair from behind your ears. So, yeah, you know, you use things.
What's he really like? I mean, you're at his event. I mean, he gets so much stick.
He's fantastic. That's because somebody once called him Shrek or something, didn't they? And then something else. And of course, he's a lovely. He couldn't stop cuddling us. His wife got me, give me the booking. She said, I want you to walk into the restaurant on Saturday night at 9 o'clock in your gear and make us all laugh for an hour. I said, well, I can do that, but that is a bit unprofessional. Can we not build a little stage and have a light to make sure that you can see me? Or I'm actually serving the meals. I got changed in a broom cupboard out the back. I came up the back fire escape.
Yeah.
Got changed in a broom cupboard. And when my tour manager, Richie, come back, he fell about laughing. I was getting a wash in the toilet. I pressed the toilet and there's a water come down. I was washing my face. He said, what are you doing? I said, well, there's no sink.
The glamour of it, eh?
Yeah. He said, he's like going back 40 years in it.
I mean, for you, getting a booking like that, is it some form of affirmation?
Yeah, it's a feather in your cap, isn't it? There's about 9,000 comics in this country would love to have been able to talk to you now and say, I did Wayne Rooney's birthday the other night. Of course, you'll get people coming on the Facebook calling me a traitor because it wasn't Liverpool or it wasn't Newcastle's or whatever. And
at that gig, did anything go? I mean, were there limits? Did you have to back off a bit, or were you?
When I was on there, it was only a very small room. And when I walked on, I said, you know, I thought Old Trafford was a lot bigger than this. I said, I just read Fergie's book, and they all went, ooh. I said, he was a bit of a swine, that Prince Andrew, wasn't he? And then they all started laughing again, you know.
It must be a great thrill. And for you now, what gets you out of bed? I mean, we've got to mention it. We're going to get to it in a moment. The new DVD, Who Ate All the Pies? You're still out there selling out theatres and making DVDs. What is your inspiration to get out of bed in the morning and do another gig? Because let's face it, you've made millions in this business.
I think it's just to make sure I can stand up and one leg's in front of the other. In this day and age, I look in the mirror and I thought, I'm going to have a facelift. I love life. And, I mean, there's millions of people who are in pain all the time, and you know, they're not. You know, I've got my sister's brother has got MS, and he's had it for 12 years. And he's got nothing to look forward to, and we do our best. And you know, you've got to think of the people who are worse off. I know it's an old cliche, and people say, "Oh, they all say that." There's a lot of people worse off than you, and you just got to do your best. If you go on the Facebook now, you'll see me with a lad who's in a wheelchair, and he comes to see me all the time. He comes to see me 80 times, you know, and he still laughs his head off, you know.
Mm. Does it bother you in a way that you can't win? I mean, when you do one outrageous gag that the Daily Mail don't like, that will make the headline. They're never going to print Chubby spends hours with disabled people doing good for society, are they?
Well, no, you know, but also, you know, I get the blame for things I never said. I mean, when the Sheffield was blown up out, there was gags going around that said Chubby Brown said, I never said no such thing. And then the Bradford fire, they said, I said things about the Brown. I never said no such thing. The people think I'm that stupid that I would ruin my reputation. I mean, I talk about sex, drugs and rock and roll. I don't talk about other things that, I talk about the people who've done wrong. Your Jimmy Savile and your Michael Jackson, who's been found guilty in his Stuart Halls. I talk about that. I don't talk about things who've been innocent and not to prove guilty. And I
Mm.
And so they blame you for everything.
And just back to the Jimmy Savile thing. I mean, I did the last interview with Jimmy. Little did I know, 2 months before he died, I spent an hour with him in which he confessed many things that at the time we thought were funny. Things like, I got away with it, I won't be going to heaven. I mean, you've been around in show business for a long time. What is your take on sort of the BBC's and show business's cover-up of these people? Were you ever aware of anything like that?
Somebody slipped up there, didn't it, along the line? Somebody knew something and didn't say anything. And how many times have we seen that in the past? It's like these, if you go and see Philomena, that new movie with Judi Dench, it's fantastic. But it just shows you how the nuns ran the Catholic Church and how evil they were, because it's all a true story. I'm not talking out of turn, but then you see these things and you make your own mind up whether guilty or whether innocent. And it's the same in life. If somebody doesn't tell you something, or if they do tell you something, you have to make up your mind. I never met Jimmy Savile. I know anywhere near. I mean, things get back to me all the time. You'll talk to somebody and say, Rolf has been arrested. And they'll go, oh, well, I knew that was coming. And I go, well, how did you know that was coming? Because we've got our heads buried in the sand half the time, haven't we?
Yeah. And in terms of your conscience and spirituality, this is a bit deep, and I'm going a bit Oprah on you now, and I won't do this again. But do you worry about your legacy? Do you think about what you're leaving society and all of both the happiness that you've brought and the controversy that you've brought? And do you think about that stuff? Are you a spiritual person?
Not really, no. I was when I was young. I was a Methodist. My auntie was a Methodist lay preacher and all that. But as time goes on and you educate yourself and you learn to grow up and you look around you and you see, if there's such a person as God, they'll say, oh, well, if you haven't got religion, if you haven't got your faith, what have you got? How can he possibly let some of these things go on if there's such a person? So I've lost that. And somebody did say to me, what do you want people to be saying about you in 50 years' time? I said, I'd like people to be saying, do you know how old he is? And he's still getting his leg over.
What is amazing about you is your tenacity to keep going in the business. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You are a remarkable musician, a tremendous piano player and an amazing lyricist and stuff like that. You deserve credit for that because you're very good at it. Are you still doing that in the show?
Still doing it. My new DVD that comes out has got a ragtime piece on it, which I love playing. I always have an hour there on the keyboard trying to think of new things to do, because if you play somebody else's music, you have to pay everybody else, then they take a percentage of it, then you end up with nothing. So if you write your own, it's something, don't know where it comes from, because I'm the only musical one in our family. So except for me, my little girl now was taking piano lessons. But I didn't start playing the piano until I was 33, 34. And I just decided, I went to see The Sting with Robert Redford, and I thought, I love that music, what is it? And a friend of mine said, that's piano ragtime two-step. And I went out and bought a piano, it cost me £5 from the sale rooms. And it was completely out of tune. And then I started playing, and I've never looked back since.
Well, I always love talking to you. It's always honest and it's always real. And regardless of what people think about you as a comedian and an outrageous comic, you are a phenomenal gag teller. You're a fabulous musician and a lovely man as well. Roy Chubby Brown's new DVD.
Thank you very much. Do you want me to play a little tune on the piano?
If you could, that'd be lovely.
See if you can hear this.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Thank you, Roy. Roy Chubby Brown's new DVD, Who Ate All the Pies, is out on Monday. And I'm going to come and see you very soon and we'll do this face to face. It's always lovely to talk to you. Good health to you. Have a wonderful Christmas. And thank you to Roy Chubby Brown.
All right, bye. Thanks for ringing. Bye.